So here's what I wanted to share with you guys today, courtesy of the National Security Archive, George Washington University. The Nuclear Vault, resources from the National Security Archive's Nuclear Documentation Project, made possible by the support of the New Land Foundation. We're going to find out who the hell they are too. So, we all know, and we should all agree, that researching the flat earth brings about a known truth. Not a conspiracy, not a theory, not a hypothesis, but a simple, basic, known fact that every government agency in the world and private organizations who develop aeronautical products, provide resources with regard to software and programming and image processing, since I'd say as early as what, the 1930s, maybe 1940s, possibly even earlier than that. So, depending on how deep you want to go down the rabbit hole with Alice, just take her hand and let her guide you. It'll lead you to a whole host of other secrets that are being kept. Because I don't understand, for the life of me, the government's going to deny that the earth is flat. And I'm talking about they're denying that the entire system is. But they write about it in papers, how they based all signal propagation and electromagnetic wave propagation over use of the flat earth model. So you've got ground wave propagation, where signals travel on a linear path. You've got atmospheric wave propagation, where the signals travel at a broader spectrum, and spread out. And then you got ionic spheric wave propagation, where when you're looking at the upper layers, those signals might be bouncing off of some sort of other electromagnetic atmosphere environment that may be curved or some sort of dome, and then transmitting down to the ground level and being propagated. But let's stay on target. I'm going to try to do this presentation without cursing or using any vulgar language at all. I'm going to really try. I swear to God, I'm going to really try. But I think I may have a mild case of Tourette's syndrome. So, let's see how long I can go in presenting this video without cursing. All right, let's see. We're already at 3 minutes, so. But this website's interesting. You can find it at nsarchive.gwu.edu. Okay? George Washington University National Security Archive. This is an interesting section of the site. They've got a whole host of documents you guys might want to look at. But what I found interesting here is this. There's all this talk about the Islamic Republic of Iran having nuclear weapons, having a secret nuclear program. You've got all these other countries who've got nuclear programs, and you've never heard about some of the issues that might have been taking place behind closed doors and under the table. They keep a lot of these rogue programs secret. You only hear about the countries who, there's some sort of backdoor agenda where they don't want a particular country to have a specific advanced technological capability to be on an equal playing field with the rest of the world. You just hear about those who are not in line with the collective majority views and opinions of where they should be in the world. But what I found interesting on this site is this, is that the United States discovered Israel's secret nuclear project, okay, long before Iran was even being discussed, okay? As you can see here, the U.S. discoveries of Israel's secret nuclear program project. Okay? And this was reported April 15th, 2015. U.S. government first learned of Israel's secret nuclear program at Dimona from an American corporate official talking to U.S. diplomats in Tel Aviv during midsummer 1960. According to a declassified document published today for the first time by the National Security Archive, the Nuclear Proliferation International History Project, and the Center for Nonproliferation Studies of the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey, other documents published today detail the discovery of the secret project that some in the United States government believe from the very start aimed at a weapons capability. The U.S. debates over Israel's lack of candor and the U.S. government efforts to pressure the Israelis to answer key questions about the nature of the Dimona project. So, in all fairness, I'm going to say this. I did a research paper where we discussed the Iranian nuclear program, and actually 10 years prior, the United States was actually working with the Islamic Republic of Iran to assist them in their nuclear program development initiative, whereby they wanted 25 nuclear facilities for power and energy generation throughout the country. And the United States actually gave Iran their very first nuclear reactor. They gave it to them. They gave them the material, all the technical specs and schematics 10 years before they gave it to Israel. They didn't even want to give it to Israel. Israel actually stole the information so that they could get on equal footing because, of course, you got this whole Islamic, thing and anti-Semitic. I'm not going to get into that, but here's the deal. You didn't hear any kind of international uproar over Israel's program. They're not even part of the International Proliferation Treaty, the IPT. Okay? Iran is a member of the IPT. Okay? They've also allowed the IAEA to go in there and conduct regular inspections and investigations and testing. Israel is totally against this. They went crazy when the U.S. wanted to have the IAEA go in and do inspections because they suspect these guys were actually working on a weapons capability. Okay? So let's listen to this interview of this guy, Adi Cohen. Adi Cohen was a retired official from the Israel's Treasury Ministry, conducted by Ori Rabinowitz, a postdoctoral fellow at Tel Aviv University. Okay? They say here part of the puzzle about the textile plant cover story is how it came about, while we know that Adi Cohen, the director of the Foreign Aid Office at the Treasury Ministry, used that description when guiding U.S. Ambassador Ogden Reed and some of his staff on a helicopter tour of the Negev in September of 1960. The documentary trail has its limits. Cohen, who has just turned 87 and is living outside Tel Aviv, recalls the episode vividly. In a series of written and oral exchanges with the editors of this ebook in recent weeks, he has clarified further what happened. So let's see what he says here. Okay, let's see what he says.
I accompanied the ambassador and Jack Haggerty in various parts of Israel to show what Israel is. I was the contact man. Since my English was better than most, if not all, including Israel, whatever was supposed to be done with the embassy on a level of working level, I could go to the ambassador. I could go to anyone there. If any had any problem with visas, I was approached because I was or my secretary or whatever, because I was also involved, not involved, I was responsible for the State of Israel bonds that were converted for investment, for tourist expenses, and so on. So, and whatever the ambassador wanted to see, he always, his secretary or John Shaw was his economic advisor, counselor, asked me, I arranged it. And it was usually one-day trips in his limousine, sometimes with his wife, including lunch given by the host and so forth. And so one day he said, "I'd like to see the Dead Sea Works."
And this is around 1960.
60, I thought 60. It was cold. I remember it was cold, September or something. In any case, I did arrange. He wants one day trip. So, and I told him that General Maclef, who was at that time the manager, the general manager, invited us for lunch. So I arranged that, and I said, "Would you like to see something else?" Because we had chopper. I arranged with the Air Force. There's a chopper, and he said, "Well, if we have time, I would like to see what happened with the $59 million loan that you got from the World Bank to build the Ashdod port." So we go, we can fly directly there, north of Dimona. Well, actually, it was on Dimona, but it was seen. That was the reason for our trip.
So you're flying there in the chopper.
Flying in the chopper, and he says, "What's this?" And I said, my wife's second cousin was a very famous, known pediatrician in Jerusalem, Dr. Cora Toaster, and his husband was Rudy Toaster, a Jerusalemite architect. When he told me that he's doing textile plant in Dimona, I said, "What do you do in Dimona in the textile?" "Oh, I know the owners, and they asked me whether I can do that." So I kept quiet. And but when he asked me the question, "Was this a textile plant?" I ad-libbed it. And what transpired afterwards, I found out that they actually, by accident, really, it wasn't planned. They said, "Come down, send me a car, and explain to me why we should know, be aware of the fact that you dealing or handling development of nuclear
plants."
Now, they did not say anything about a bomb. It said
This guy's lying, man.
nuclear power for non-civilian uses.
I mean, the fact that he can't maintain focus.
There is legislation in Congress that would really involve us or force us to stop all aid assistance.
So let me share something with you guys, all right? I used to give lectures and seminars on interviewing and interrogation. And let me tell you something. I'll play fair and say, this guy's very old. And, as you get older, your memory becomes a little fogged and you can't remember a lot of things. All right? Now, that would be a perfect excuse. Okay? That would be a perfect excuse for someone, late 40s, 50s, 60s to use their age as a tactic to be interviewed like this, not look at the camera, and assume that this guy is trying to remember as best he can. I don't have any sympathy for these type of people. As a matter of fact, I will literally, I will smell BS immediately, and I'll try to get this guy to stay focused on me. to look me in the eyes to tell me what he really and honestly can remember. And the fact that he's looking away from the camera, we all know the common tactics and body language when someone has to look up and to the right or up and to the left, and what part of their brain they're accessing to try to remember or make up stories that may be consistent of what the interviewer may want to hear or may want to try to understand. But this guy is an Israeli government official. He was a former Israeli government official. You can bet this guy has been interviewed and coached dozens of times by Mossad and Shin Bet. He's definitely been coached and interviewed and told exactly how to answer questions. This stays ingrained. Once you learn intelligence tradecraft, this stays ingrained in you, just like riding a bike. I don't believe anything this guy's saying. This interview can't be considered credible at all. But for entertainment purposes, we're going to listen to the rest of it. Okay?
I realized what it meant. Talked to Eshkol and to Perez, and it was settled.
And when you ad-libbed about Dimona, did you ever imagine it would become such a
little cold?
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, not nobody. I was really the contact. I wasn't even a messenger. I was just there.
So when he looks at her to tell her, hey, I was a really good contact, I was a messenger. When he looks at her, that's confirmation of truth. That yes, he was a good contact. He was a messenger, because he looked right at her to confirm to her, to reassure her, yeah, I'm telling you the truth on that. Now, I believe that. But everything else this guy's saying, he is flat out lying. Flat out lying, man.
And I feel that I was trusted, although very young. I was 30, 31.
Does it amuse you that your story about the textile plant became such a famous thing around the world?
I mean, I realized, I was not that stupid.
Sure.
I can add more, and you would understand why.
So, you heard that interview. You can make it out whatever you want it to be. But let's go into this document a little bit more. According to this, in June 1959, Israel and Norway's secret agreement providing for the sale of Norwegian heavy water to Israel through the United Kingdom. It goes to UK again, man. You guys got your hands in everything. You just can't stay out of people's business. I'm honestly believe that the Brits are involved in all the chaos that's going around the world right now. They got their hands in everything. They're not innocent at all. They are a bunch of dirty, dealing, backstabbing, double talking, Hippocratic bunch of English. I don't want to say the word because I'm just trying to refrain from letting the Tourette syndrome take control of me. But you guys get the picture, man. I'm not saying this about private British citizens, but man, I can tell you, your monarchy, Her Majesty, she ain't nothing but a sideways ass old snake. That's what she is. That's what she is. She knows exactly what's going on with the government. I just can't believe it. So the reports from the information then from a then covert source. Let's see here. University of Michigan nuclear energy professor Henry Gomberg, who learned that the Israelis had a secret nuclear project. There you go, people. There you go. So I want to take you to another document, though, because I don't want to add too much to this, but check this out. You guys want to hear something strange? Look at the title of this. Concerned about nuclear weapons potential. John F. Kennedy pushed for inspection of Israeli nuclear facilities. Now, you want to start thinking about who possibly had Kennedy killed? You want to think about that? They want to try to bring the Russians on. Read this bad boy. Go to the website. Read this bad boy. And then decide for yourself who you think might have had Kennedy killed. And then make a determination. There's some food for thought, people. More planata veritas. It's not what you know. It's what you can prove.